Melissa.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm good. It's a sunny day here. I'm actually at home, so my scenery looks a little bit different. I was doing some work from home today, but you're clearly not.
I've been working. But tell me who you are in case no one's watched us before.
That's right. So if you haven't watched us before, I am Megan Holmes coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. I own the Needlepoint Clubhouse here in St. Louis. I happen to be down the road at my house today, but together with my pal over here, I think actually on the screen it goes like this, but to you, you look like this. That girl right there is Melissa McLeod, who owns the, what do you own? The Wool and the Floss in outside of Detroit in Grosse Pointe, Michigan. And together for, I don't know, maybe a little more than a year now. It's going to be coming on at least a year and a half. We've been doing this thing. I know we've been doing this thing we call a video podcast. We are loving it. And we are the Pointing It Out podcast team. So we are here because every few episodes we do something together. And we were discussing what we were going to do. And Melissa, why don't you remind us what
Oh, here's your to-do list, everyone. But these are fun to-do lists. It does not contain anything to do with housekeeping or paying bills or anything. So we, I think in January, announced our Pointing It Out podcast 21 in 21 challenge. And we got on here, I think in February to talk about end of February, I think it was, to talk about what we'd both done and kind of rah-rah and get everyone rolling, and said we'd come on quarterly. But yeah, now it's September.
September 9th, I think. So we've decided we're on trimesters.
There we go.
So we'll be 2/3 of the way done, you guys. Isn't that exciting?
I know. So I've got some follow-ups though from what we talked about in February.
I know, and you told me to bring my follow-ups too. So I'm very excited, actually. Believe it or not, when we assess these things, I always worry that I'm going to feel like, oh my God, I have so much to do. And then I actually feel like I've gotten more done than I thought. So
I know. I was like, wow, we've accomplished a lot this year, like in our own personal needlepoint. So super fun. So I'll admit the first half of this. So last time we talked about counted pieces, and we each had like a plan for our counted pieces, and I finished mine. And this is kind of funny. I sent it to Megan for finishing. She sent it to me about 3 weeks ago, and I haven't opened it yet. So I haven't even seen it.
You haven't even opened the box?
Well, I opened the box, but then I just threw the tissue wrapped piece that was in the plastic bag in my bag because
hilarious.
So
this is like a very real time response to your finishing. I hope it's good. Hopefully there's not any trailing threads. Yay.
So truth be told, Megan had done a finishing of this. This is an Abigail Cecile piece. It's counted. I whipped it off. It was super fun. Changed the colors because Megan had a customer who had hers finished like this, and I was totally obsessed with it. So instead of asking my finishers to figure it out, I just sent it to Megan and said, do it just like that one. And it's gorgeous. So
it's really good. We are very lucky to have some great finishers.
Yes. And I mean, I've got great finishers too, but
I know.
It's like, it just seems silly. So it's gorgeous. So I finished my counted piece, and Megan kind of finished my counted piece. I'm not sure if Megan finished her counted piece.
So I was just going to slack and check the box on that one and say that I finished your counted piece, but I stitched with my neighbor this morning, and we both decided, because she's trying to do the challenge too, and she hadn't done a counted piece. So we both decided, I bought, I think 2 or 3 of the Abigail Cecile counted charts because they're so beautiful. I couldn't choose. So we both decided we're going to pick one and we're going to sit down one night and do it, because truthfully, what you just said is true. We could probably crank that out in a couple nights, maybe. So
yeah. Sure. So super cute, super fun. So that got done.
And by the way, I'm home. So my husband is in the background. I don't know if he realizes that we're
Tom.
So hi, Tom.
Okay. So next last time we talked about stitching with a bestie, and that's a really easy one for Megan and I to check off because many Saturday nights we stitch together via Zoom. because both of our husbands are early to bed, early to rise, and we're kind of late nighters. And so that's what happens. And what's made it even more fun is we've had a couple of our other shop owner friends join us because apparently we're all losers and don't go out on Saturday night.
See, I was going to say the exact opposite. We're so much fun that other friends wanted to come join our Zoom. So there's that.
And we do stay up till like midnight or 1 a.m. I think it was 2 a.m. last week. So, my husband's kind of like, oh, you wild and crazy needlepoint girls, but he's in bed. So what can he really say?
Well, the bummer for you is that me and our two of our other, so Heidi at Chaparral and Deb at Stitcher's Garden, we're all in the central time zone. So you get the raw end of the deal because you're an hour later. But anyway.
But it works out because my husband goes to bed at 9, which is 8 your time. So it works for everybody. So it's really great. Other thing that we talked about the last time was I can't remember what we say in our thing, something about relax with a tent, meaning do
relax and unwind with a tent stitch. Oh, that's the only piece I didn't bring over, but that's okay.
That's okay, because we're just throwing off finished things. So my finished item is super cute. So this is the chinoiserie needlepoint or fob, and have it finished by our leather finisher. And she puts this fabulous leather on it and tabs. And I've had about 6 other people who have emulated this. I think mainly because you and I got so excited about the fact that I changed the background to that parfait pink from.
And I was just going to say that. So I don't know about everyone else's screen, but unfortunately for you, that is not resonating the way it should. I think it's a really soft pink. And then is it navy blue leather?
It is.
Yeah. So it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And again, it might be my screen, but I just wanted to point out that it is light pink with the blues and a navy blue. It's gorgeous. My tent stitch is not finished. I'm still working away on it, but
yours, as I recall, is like a 12 by 12 or a 14 by 14. And mine was like 2 by 7.
It's true. It's true. So thanks for giving me that benefit of the doubt.
And then we both finished a work in progress that had been started in a prior year. We don't even have to talk about which prior year, because sometimes, actually, one of the things that I'm going to show you today for the newest part was I started the night of the Clinton-Trump election.
Oh, how funny. And you remember that?
Well, I'll tell you why when we get there. But anyway, so you finished yours, and didn't you have it framed? And I just listened to your framing episode and I learned so much.
And you may have seen this in the framing episode. I can't remember if we actually showed it or not, but I am so proud of this. I love it. It's a Raymond Crawford piece. I had so much fun stitching this. I have to say, I got a little hung up on the background, which is why I hadn't finished it. And I just said, I'm going to plow through this thing and get it done truthfully, I think it was like, this is what I'm picking for the challenge. So got it done. It looks great. And it hangs in the bathroom at the shop, because I think anybody who stares at themselves in the, do you hear
your clock? I heard it.
I love it. I didn't even think to turn it off. Anyway, it's in the shop, and I think anyone who looks in the mirror at the shop should be reminded that they're practically perfect in every way. So
darling. And I finished mine too, but I did what probably a lot of our customers do to us, not a lot, but occasionally. I did to my finishing manager. I said, here, just finish this. I don't know how I want it. You pick. So it hasn't gotten done, I think, mainly because she's probably like, I don't know, I'm scared to pick for you.
She's totally in her head, but wasn't it a Laura Perrin counted piece that you did?
Oh, I finished that myself. I put it in a Sudbury tray. It's this Moose by Maggie.
Oh, the Moose.
I hadn't finished it because the background was super dark and whatever, but it's done. But I'm still waiting for some finishing fairy dust to go on it. So
fairy dust. I'm going to use that. I like it. That's good.
Yes. And then we talked the last time about our mystery kits, and you and I think then unveiled our mystery kits.
Is that
somewhere?
I have to say that I have not made a ton of progress, but one thing I did do. So I'm working on. You did 2 of my. This is not great. I need to sit up so I can hide the. But then I can't see. Anyway, you did 2 of these little Mile High Princess guys for me. This one I'm calling Ward, and the other one I call Claire. And I'm working on, I don't know if you.
By the way, are your children, not your imaginary friends, just for the record.
Sorry, in case you haven't joined us before. Part of the problem is I feel like I talk so much that everyone's like, yeah, we know.
I know your life. babe.
Yeah.
I got
But anyway,
but
I have to say, you chose essentials and you did not give me a stitch for the jacket. And so I decided to do brick stitch and it's cruising along and
cute.
I'm switching colors kind of in the shading with brick and it's working out really nice. And so I've got, I don't know, a little over.
Yeah, show us the back, not because I care what your back looks like, but then we can see how much you've done. Look, you've done a lot.
Of
On
the
front,
jacket.
on the screen, you can't really see what stitch and not stitch because it's dark.
Sorry.
So
Yeah. So I got moving on that. I'm really excited about it. I will say, I will give people a tip. If you have not had your friend kit your piece yet, have them suggest a few stitches because it is amazing when someone else looks at something and sort of what they interpret your piece to look like. Because as I was reading through, Melissa very graciously gave me some notes and I was like, ooh, I'm excited to try that. So, so mystery kit.
well, and I think that you, when we unveiled these, talked about some particular stitches for me, but I think, you've got a little bit more on your plate with having two little ones at home. So you sent me fabulous, fabulous threads, but you didn't write down the stitches. And of course, it was many months before I picked it up. But I did finish this carrot, and isn't it darling? So this is
done.
Yeah, it's from Associates Talents, and this is another true confession. You sent me pearl cotton for the carrot, and sorry, I know I'm going to cause a hullabaloo by saying this. I don't really like stitching with pearl cotton, but it looks awesome on this piece.
But what you did do, and what I was going to say is you did remember. So I stitched large houndstooth like that on something else. And my suggestion was only to use pearl cotton because of it was like a tubular nature. And when you do did you do long stitches? I just can't remember.
Yeah, that's part of the reason this one's done because it went really fast with those big, giant, long stitches.
What'd you end up using? Thread.
What do you mean? The pearl cotton.
Oh, you did use it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You told me. So I listened. It was a mystery kit and I'm supposed to, go with the program, right? So I'm a rule follower. We know this, Megan.
I thought that your true confession was that you switched the thread out.
My true confession is that I really don't like pearl cotton. And I know that that's maybe not a nice thing to say. You know what I mean? So
it's okay. Yeah. All right. So I just think that turns out nicely when you do those long stitches.
And you sent me bugle beads for their little beaks. Those aren't they cute?
Oh, it did turn out cute.
Yeah. So they're fuzzy, and I fuzzed them up with I keep one of those toothbrushes from the dentist that we all have electronic. So that was fun. It was all done. I've got a whole set of them, as you all may recall, because I think Megan was a little bitter about that, but she did a great job in the end. So it's all good.
It was only bitter because you sent me 6, I think. Wasn't that why?
5, 6. Does it matter?
I was like, I was not.
I really thought the colors repeated. I thought that it was like, you could whatever, but so we can really blame Don Lynch, who watches us quite a bit, because they actually look great together, but there's not a lot of the same colors. So
there's not, but that's okay. We love it.
I love it. And I had super fun doing it, and I'm going to whip off some more of them soon. Then the last thing we talked about was on the last episode was organizing our threads. And this is where you got to shine because you're like, what do you mean? Mine are always organized. So.
Well, but do you recall that they also live at the shop where I have other people help me? By the way, I've been painting in my living room. That's one of the reasons why I'm home today. And I have like speckles of paint all over me. So I'm look a little.
So what happens with me is this is one of the things that I finished this weekend. So I have all my little floss away bags inside of this junky bag. And it goes into my closet and I stick it in a like to be filed bag. And speaking of Don Lynch, I know that he said he does the same thing. So once or twice a year, so everything is pretty organized except for the things that I've recently finished. So once or twice a year, I go through these. And I think I gave a little teaser on the last one. But I have to just remind everyone, thanks to COVID and my thread sorting, I found $2,000. And I never have cash. I've got, now they're young adults, but I had teenage children for quite a while. So when you're the parent of teenage children, you don't have cash because as soon as you have it, they take it. So I just never have cash. But the only reason I remembered it is because the date on the band said March 15th, 2020, right? I have the year right. Yeah. Because my good friend Terry, who's also a stitcher and watches us too, had said, you better go to the bank. The banks are going to shut down. We need to prepare for all this. And I'm just not I don't want to say a doomsdayer because she's not a doomsdayer either, but I just don't get all panicky. Like I'm pretty mellow about stuff. And she's like, okay, fine. You're not going to go to the grocery store and buy anything. At least go get money.
Get money
So
in case you need to buy something. So
I got the $2,000. And then of course, no one would take cash, right? Who would have thunk? So it went in this like soup tureen I have on my dining room table. So the reason it comes into play with the thread sorting is I pulled the top off to kind of use to sort my threads. And I was like, wait, what's that? It was almost a year later. I totally forgotten. So it became my fun one.
So I think the moral of the story is do the 21 and 21 challenge, organize your threads, and you never know what you might find when you're doing that.
Yeah, I always say it saves you money, but I can't promise it'll find you $2,000, but
That's right.
it will save you money if your threads are organized. Okay, so let's move on because I think I went through this and I think between the two of us, we figured out we've knocked off 8 more, we've knocked off 7 and we're going to do an 8th one live. So I think the first one we talked about was knot it up, which is using French knots or bullion knots in your piece. So what you got for us?
Yep. So I have Eeny Meeny, and I think I've shown this maybe before on some things. I went ahead and got him finished. I love this piece. And all of the
acacia trees.
The acacia trees, thank you, are in French knots.
So pretty. And Silk Road fibers, right?
No, what did I use? No, it's not Silk Road fiber. It's a stranded thread. It's a, I think it's Gloriana.
Oh, nice. It's probably that leaf green that I love, or summer foliage. One of the two.
Yeah, it's an overdye, which is why I wanted to use it. And yeah, and I will say, knots are fun and they don't have to be perfect. And I just stacked them all in there and they look really good. Tip though, and I think most people probably know this is probably one of the very last things you want to do because you want it to lay on top of everything else to give it oomph, and also just so that you don't kind of have to work around. I have like a piece of hair right here that's driving me crazy. Sorry. Anyway, this was fun. This is my knot piece and I just have all these knots in there and it was really good. And I think I need to write these things down, but I think I even did like 3 strands, sometimes 4 strands, sometimes just to kind of like give it a more natural look. So yeah, this would be speaking of, I remember when I was personally down with COVID, I stitched like crazy on this background, like just sat on the couch and then I'd like lay my head back and take a little snooze and then I'd do some more of the background. So anyway. So
most people would probably know that we did a little mini stitch along with that. There were 6 of us.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I haven't quite finished, but when you and I were talking, one of the things that I've done ribbon work in some of the pieces I'm going to show you, but I haven't counted them as ribbon work because you can only use one project for one thing. So my plan, but I have to get all my background done first, is to do French knots in ribbon on those acacia trees.
Awesome.
That'll be my ribbon work. So that just dawned on me. But what I did,
will you do double wraps in some cases and single wraps and because you'll use a 4mm, I'm assuming, because it's 18 count mesh. Okay, cool. Very good.
But I have this oldie but goodie. It actually you can't buy this anymore. This is from Raymond Crawford and he doesn't do these anymore. But this is this cute little Rudolph and I squared him out, but I couldn't decide. I was hemming and hawing about what to do for his little antlers. And then I was finally like, you know what? I'm just going to pull out some Krynic. And I did a bunch of colonial knots because I'm a big colonial knot fan over French knots. I find colonial knots kind of like stay put. French knots move around. So for like your trees, I think French knots were a good use because you've got a bigger space and you want them to look kind of natural. But these, because his little antlers are so small, the colonial knots, like they just kind of stay exactly where you put them. So
cute. I'm going to have you give me a colonial knot reminder. I took a class with Mark Craddock that we had, and he taught us colonial knots, but I needed to see it up close. But a tip for French knots, and you probably know this. Have we talked about this before? I always took the French knot over the intersection. I don't know why. I just thought that's what you did. French knot over the intersection. Mark says, oh, no, in and out the same hole. That keeps them in place.
Oh, that's interesting. I do some of both when I do them. Because usually if I'm doing French knots, I want it to look messy. If I don't want it to look messy, I do colonial
especially if you're doing that tree, like all the, but in your case, it sounded like you kind of wanted them to stay put. and in and out of an intersection might have been a way to, excuse me, in and out of the hole opposed to going over the intersection may have kept them in place.
Well, and I think too, you know, a colonial knot, the nature of a colonial knot versus a French knot is it's more standard. Like you do the same exact thing every time, whereas like
Right.
you're saying with a French knot, you wrap it differently. So colonial knots just tend to look like very symmetrical. So we know that.
You like.
that. So anyways, yeah, so we both knocked it off, knotted up. And
Very
then where'd we go to? Number 2 on my list is
So to be
easy. This is a little self-serving. Occasionally we're self-serving. And it was to watch a Pointing It Out episode and subscribe. So we're both subscribed already. So that was easy. But ironically, because we do 2/3 of these each, every now and then it's kind of hard to remember to go back and watch like the ones that I do by myself or you do by yourself.
correct.
I did watch, as I mentioned earlier, your framing episode that was just on last week. I think by the time we drop this, it'll been last week.
Yes.
And it was really great. And I, you know, every framer, kind of like every pillow finisher or whatever, there's some different tips and tricks for you to learn and glean from them. And I learned a lot. So I really enjoyed it. And now I'm all excited to get back to my tiger. So.
Well, good. And then, so I watched recently, because I just think she's amazing, is your Kelly Clark episode. I hadn't watched it all in full. And she's just such a cool lady.
She is. She's so talented. And she's like, and if you say that to her, if she's watching, she's going to be like, oh, no, don't be silly. I'm just a gal who stitches.
And so to that point, we're going to segue, I think, easily into the next one we had, which was to take a class. So this
is a little embarrassing. So yeah.
And I'm going to point out that Melissa kind of twisted my arm like this, just a little bit. Yeah.
Well, because you hadn't taken a class at that point with Kelly Clark yet.
I had never taken a Kelly Clark class.
I'm a big fangirl of Kelly Clark. So I'm like,
and I was like, oh my God, I am going to bite off way more than I can chew. And I surely did. But take a class is on the list. And I think even if you have been, so to the point, Melissa and I both signed up and took the Zoom class with Kelly.
This was the first time she was doing a Zoom class ever. So I'm like, we have access to her. We got to take advantage of this.
It was amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing to see her work. It's amazing to see how her brain works. It's amazing to see how her fingers work, all these things. She's just awesome. But I think, you know, even if you are a person who has been stitching, oh God, you're going to do it. I have it sitting here and I'm just embarrassed.
No, mine barely has anything. So I'll flip mine over too. So go ahead with the fact that we took the class, we participated in the class. Oh God, yours is bad.
Really bad. I did that online there and I did
There's a little bit more to show, but we're still both pathetic. Like there's people that keep posting on our Facebook group that are like, look at my finished product. And yeah.
Just, you know, I'll be honest. I don't know. Classes are hard for me because I really like to listen and watch. And I like to get things started a little bit, but I really would prefer to kind of like, I'm not really a perfectionist. I don't know what my problem is, but I'd really prefer to like listen and watch and like.
You want to be totally focused on it.
I do. I kind of want to go and like do my own thing by myself. And that's the problem. I don't have a lot of time to focus on a Kelly Clark level.
Right.
Yeah. So I just have never sat back down in like a retreat setting or a place where I can just like sit and knock it out. But the point is, taking the class was amazing. It doesn't matter if you finish the piece. It matters that you got some nuggets and it was fun. So
yeah, I mean, I learned a ton from her. I mean, that's why we both now carry the A to Z of ribbon workbook, the A to Z of stump workbook. Most of the ribbon work she did wasn't that complicated, but the stump work is just amazing. So to have this like written documentation in our back pocket on top of her amazing stitch guide, like, I mean, I learned a ton from it. So, and I will finish these. And if nothing else, remember way back when we talked about a retirement cruise?
Yeah,
we'll take you on our retirement cruise.
And maybe we'll have like been successful enough in visit to invite Kelly to come along. We'll just like be like, hey, we're just going to hire you to be our private teacher on the retirement cruise. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Well, you know, you remember she used to do that. Do you know that?
Go on, I think so, and teach, right?
Yeah. I mean, it seems like ancient times
just
now, but you know. So yeah, she's really great. She'd probably just come because she's so much fun. And I think
But
she'd be
I hate to be too self-serving, but we are hosting Kelly in our shop for the first time in November. I think the class is full, but I can't wait to have her. I just feel like it's like having a celebrity around. We had Mark Craddock, he's like a celebrity. We had Connie Camp. I took her. It's really, really fun to host classes, but it's so fun because other people get to experience them, and it just feels like a treat to be able to do that. I have a little space, and so.
well, and now I'm going to throw you a wrench because we're going to go a little bit out of order because now we've talked about going on a retreat and having teachers in your class. And in October, I get to come to our retreat, which you are hosting. So we are doing the Pointing It Out retreat, the first, hopefully first of many. We'll see, but we're having about
goes well.
26 people or so to your shop, something like that. And this is our optional retreat piece. And this is a plum stitchery piece. And I'm counting this as my non-holiday piece. And actually, I'm going to roll two of my things into one because this is my non-holiday piece. It could have been my ribbon piece because there are really cute ribbon flowers up there. But this used a lot of Gloriana Robin's Egg Blue. And I should be more of a laying tool user than I am, but I've never really found a laying tool I liked. And I had a wonderful man come into my life. Don't tell my husband. He's a woodworker. And he makes these beautiful laying tools. So we have a non-holiday piece, which is on our list, and also just like rediscover or discover a favorite tool. And this laying tool is my new favorite tool. This is made by a woodworker, and it's all wood, and it just fits really nicely in my hand. And I've tried numerous other ones and they just haven't stuck, but I really needed a good laying tool for this because of the Gloriana in the background.
Yep.
So I knocked off two things right here.
I'm excited for you to come. Because I think you have one at least held, or maybe I should remind you to hold me one because I would love to try that laying tool. I don't have a wooden one. I usually use the BLT and the porcupine quill. So
you know why I don't like the BLT?
It's
your laugh. No, it's cold. I'm always cold. It's metal and it's cold. The wood is warm.
You get it in your hand and warm it up.
I'm weird. I'm always freezing. My hands especially are freezing. So whatever. So this wood laying tool is my new best friend. And I don't think I have you marked down, but I think at one point you did ask for a blue and white one. And so I'll make sure that I get a blue and white one there for you.
We'll get it. So yeah. I have mine sitting here. So speaking of a new tool or a tool you forgot you liked. So this is one of Victoria Whitson's tool holders. And yeah. I have been sitting on the couch and wearing these necklaces and using the little tool. I don't know why I forgot. Like, I think for a while I was using that.
Maker's Cape.
Yeah.
Pre-ordered those. Yep.
Yep. And so for a while I was using that and that was fine. But do you ever just get in phases or something? I don't know if it's like, so sometimes like I go actually right across the street and stitch with my friend Susan. I could see her house. And in fact, I just saw two buses roll by and I got terrified. That's why I looked at my watch because I thought the kids were going to be grounded in the house. Anyway, so I'll just like throw my necklace on and then I know I have like I'll grab my stitching bag and usually I have a pair of scissors in my stitching bag, but it's like, hey, you want to come over and stitch? I'm like, yeah. So if I have my little necklace, I know I have what I need.
Well, and did you also tell me, I know Victoria puts a little like cutter on it. I don't know really what you call that circle thingy, but did you tell me that's not the Victoria one, but she puts one on there. But I think you told me you also just open up that lobster clasp and add your regular scissors.
So I'm going to be honest. I was a very early adopter of Victoria Whitson laying tools. I think she's using a larger lobster clasp now, and I might talk to her because I have to say, I do love my gingers. And this is another thing that I love. These are the new ones. I have them sitting here because I'll be honest, I have another necklace too that has a larger lobster clip on it and I hang my actual scissors on it. So when I see, usually Victoria's so good about like, if your little thing breaks or if your little whatever. I think at Market or was it Reunion or whatever, when I see her, I'm going to say, can I just have a bigger lobster foot, please? So I can also put my other good scissors on it. Because at the shop, I think I like having a pair of scissors. And this, I like this a lot because it has also a spot for my glasses. So you can also, like, if you're walking around and you want your, so anyway, I think I bought this maybe my second Market. So a couple years ago now. So I think she has changed things up because now she has her own like, branded cutter stuff. So she's gotten way fancier, but
she is a fancy.
I've just determined that I kind of like having like a little on the go around my neck thing. And we carry some of the Mary L, I think Mary L on Instagram too. But anyway, we carry some of her things, and she has a necklace that just has a really big lobster clasp. So I have one or two of those that have different gingers because I have a ginger addiction. So.
I do too. I'm with you in that. So your rediscovered tool is your necklace.
Right. And then you got
my non-holiday piece. What's your non-holiday piece?
I thought I had it right here. Yes, I do. So I'm trying to, I always think I'm just going to grab this and stitch it really quick. So I think I mentioned this on, a Wow Wednesday, I think when you were vacationing, that I'm kind of doing some zhuzhing up of my house. And I decided that I really wanted a pillow of this in my house. So I'm changing the colors, but so this is my non-holiday. I even have my fabric kind of as inspiration. I chose the fabric that I want to use. I don't know if that shows, but anyway.
We love to choose our fabric first. It makes
I love that. So I'm actually changing the colors. This is all, but I'm getting very close.
Yes, you are.
I'm almost done. So, and I didn't use bars because once again, I was like, I'm going to hurry up and do this. I'm going to get it done real fast. I'm regretting that decision. I wish it was on bars, but Melissa and I have determined we're not bar police. We know we like them, but it's whatever.
It just kind of depends on the situation for sure.
Exactly right. So that's my non-holiday piece. So then you mixed me up. I had a really good list.
We did non-holiday and stitch a favorite at the same time. That's all. Or I'm sorry, non-holiday piece and
tool.
Tool.
I have a favorite too.
Yes.
And it's finished.
Good. Show me.
And I think maybe you were inspired by this one.
Oh, it's finished. Yes. It's so cute.
Isn't that cute?
I know. It's so cute. And I have, so that's from, am I going to get it right? Which Dana?
It's Dana Maggie.
I get the two Danas confused.
I do too, all the time. But this is the little, and it's actually just this little piece. It's really, I think it's intended to be an ornament, but the canvas just has the dog. It doesn't have any outlining. So I just squared it out and found this, it's called Rough Night. It's a Lily Pulitzer fabric that there isn't a ton out there. And buyer beware, they make it in cotton poplin and spandex. Do not send your finisher the spandex. They don't want.
Finisher does not like stretchy fabrics.
Machines don't love that. So anyway, so I was able to, I changed the bow color to green because he's a boy. And I loved, so Rookie's my buddy. He's my little pal. So he's my favorite thing. So I did that and I knocked that out in a very short amount of time too. So.
Well, I debated what to do for my favorite thing for lots of reasons, but I am a big 4th of July fan because it's always in the middle of the summer. And to me, this celebrates 4th of July. And this is the piece that I was laughing about. I love to stitch in season. So the second to last presidential election now, I started this because it was going to be a big question. It's hard to believe. And I'm not super political. Megan knows that about me, but it was always like, oh, well, what's going to happen with Clinton and Trump? That was, and then who knew that you were staying up till the crazy hours you were because everything got turned on its head and whatever. And again, I'm not political, but it was a historical night. Let's just say that no matter what you think or feel. So anyways, 4.5 years later, finished this.
So get up a little bit closer on that. What are the medallions on those guys' heads?
So that I almost chose this for my use embellishments because they're actually just gold sequins and then a bead on top.
That's cute. I like that.
Really, really, it was really fun. Lisa Love Camp Abrams, I think is her full name on Needlepoint Nation, had stitched this. And,
Oh,
she's probably
had
lost it by now. Yeah, she'd stitched it and finished it. And, it's probably ended up in a garage sale. God forbid, I'm kidding. But it's been that long. She's probably getting me like, you just finished that. But anyway, I should message her and tell her I finally finished it because she inspired me to stitch it because she had stitched it. And I love the 4th of July. It's just always a special week to me because my family always goes on vacation together and it's a good escape. And so,
it's your birthday.
yeah, well, that's how I guilt everyone into joining me. So
Works out great. Cool. So we did favorite thing. Now I'm lost again. I'm always
stitch a favorite. We did a non-holiday piece. So we're all caught up. So now we're on to something. The last two are really easy. Buy something new. We're both good at that.
And I did. Yes. I did. And I actually bought it a while back and I got really cranking on it. And then as I do, I get the word starteritis from you. I love that. But I bought this piece. This is one of my favorite Eva Howard.
Cute.
Changing the colors. Yes, I am. So she paints it. We have this, I think, in the store, but I think she paints it in black. Yeah, she paints it in black and white, and I'm doing it in like I guess green. I totally forgot I was doing that. But anyway, this background has been fun, but a real beast to compensate around those.
Oh, it looks great though.
So I'm getting, as you like to say, I'm getting way closer than, I mean,
I bet you got that stitch from Mary Legolay's book, didn't you?
I'm going to be honest about books. I am a very visual person. So I very often, if I see something that I like on Instagram or on Needlepoint Nation, I screenshot it and I just copy it.
Okay.
I mean, no, I think that's okay. I just look at the picture and kind of figure it out in my own. So I have a feeling I saw someone else use this somewhere and I just decided to use it. So I don't know. I don't think I got it from yours, but I wish I could.
Speaking of seeing it somewhere, someone recently on Instagram posted that same one and they did it all in pink and green and it's super cute.
Yes, I actually reposted that because I thought it was I was like, wait, what? It was awesome. I hadn't thought about that kind of a transition with those colors and it looked awesome. It was cute. It's very up your alley. You love the pink and green.
Yes, I don't like wear it, but I do like it in like holiday decor. I think it's fun. So yes, we'll brag one more time that I finished 3 pieces this weekend, but it's really only because I have starteritis. So when you have a gazillion projects going, sooner or later, you finish something. So I finished 3 things this weekend and now I feel badly because one of my customers posted the Riley Sheehy mini sock, which is more of like a medium sock, if you ask me, as opposed to a mini sock. And I have been obsessed with the idea of it. So here it is.
You just pulled it off the wall like yesterday.
I just pulled it off the wall. So there's not a stitch in it because I have this whole idea. So this is, here's my hand. So you can see like it's a medium sock. I don't think it's a mini sock. It's not a full stocking and it's not, mini socks are usually like 5 inches long. So, and it's just so simple and it's like
beautiful.
Simple elegance. And I am obsessed with the idea of stitching this and hanging it in the middle of a wreath with a big bow on it for my front door. So that's what I want to do. And I did a FaceTime call with our buddy Joanna at Plum Stitchery, who represents Riley Sheehy. And she had some of these in stock. And I said, oh, put another one in there because I'm taking that one off the wall tomorrow. I earned the right because I finished 3 things. That's what I say.
That's right.
So, I think it's going to be a pretty simple stitch. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to put maybe like our name on the top or Mary, or I don't know. I haven't quite decided. I'll do the top last because I know me. I just won't be able to decide.
Is there some yellow in that? Again, the screen is.
No, it's like green. It's just different shades of greens, and there's some really pretty Silk Road fibers for that greenery. And I've kitted this a lot for people. And I think I'm just going to keep it really simple because like I said, it's going to be, my front door has a storm door, so it won't be open to the elements, but it'll be on an outside-ish door.
Yep.
So it'll probably be a lot of, maybe some like straight stitches for the greenery, but I think a lot of basket weave. Like I'm not going to do real bows that are sticking out because of how I intend to use it, but yeah, so that's going to be my thing.
Really pretty, like blue velvet to have it finished with the hook.
I'm so excited about it. So
that was your new. So let's do a quick. So we have one last thing that we're going to try to tackle on this podcast, right?
Well, too, we have to
A
remind
little
people
worried.
about, the prizes.
Well, no, but first what I wanted to say was, so that leaves us with, if my count is correct, 1, 2,
Yeah, we did them all, except
5,
for
6.
the
So,
one that we're both nerve-wracked about.
well, but there's 6 left to go through next time, right?
Oh,
That's what I was, so the last, we have 6 others.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And-
I have 7.
Yeah, but you're gonna knock off the one that we're gonna do
So I
live.
think what we have left is darning stitch, 3D
Yeah.
embellishments, assess your stitch book library,
Yep,
ribbon work,
yep,
add a border,
yep.
teach your friend to stitch, which is kind of weird for us because we teach people all the time, but we'll figure that out next time.
Yep.
And create or organize your stitching space.
Okay, but you just haven't, okay, yes, yes.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Yes,
5.
yes.
Yeah.
And then play stitch roulette.
So that's what we're both, I think, nerve-wracked about.
Are you gonna say?
And this is the item on this list I've gotten the most questions about, because we put this out in our newsletter and it's on the front of our website. And so people always like, what is stitch roulette? And I always say, that was Megan's idea, because it was. But I think it's very clever because I think a lot of us own books and then sometimes like get out of the habit of using them. Right?
I'm terrible about using my books. I'll just say I have. And so I think we're going to talk about this next time, but I did assess my stitch book library and I bought myself, how should I say this? I brought home a few books that I knew I needed in my own stitch library. And one of them was volume 2. We had Mary at the shop. I think she signed mine for me. Did she? Oh yeah.
Nice.
So anyway, I'm just bad about using books. And what's funny is I am a very like tactile, like I like to have things written. So I don't mind looking at books, but I just sometimes forget to look at them. So
yeah.
Anyway.
I have like every stitch book known to man. I think I still need to assess my stitch library. But I have got a lot of oldies but goodies. And I just absolutely love them. The only reason I sometimes forget to use them is a lot of times where I have the time to stitch is when I'm at my lake house and all my stitch books are either at home or at the shop. But
yeah.
so you brought that one home recently. I dusted off one of mine because our friend Heidi that we were talking about earlier was talking about the Lone Star grab and go stitches. So I pulled this. So Stitch Roulette, the idea behind it is flip open a book, pick a stitch, and find a canvas in your stash to use it. So it's a little like, what am I going to get stuck with? What am I going to discover? Like whatever, you don't know.
It can be a spot like that big.
Right. Or it could be your background, and it kind of depends where you end up in the book. So it's just kind of like a choose your own adventure or be forced into a new adventure. Like, I don't know. So I intentionally picked this book for Megan because I know that she loves Stitches to Go. And this book is formatted a lot like Stitches to Go. There's no words. There's just diagrams. There's 6 per page. But secret told, I know this isn't one of Megan's favorite books because she is frustrated with the fact that the stitches aren't numbered. I think the fact that the stitches aren't numbered are completely freeing because to me, everyone's brains work a little bit differently. And if you have some basic stitch knowledge, you can totally do any of these stitches and you don't need the numbers. You can
hard. I just like needle position, kind of like first position, second position,
No, but that's what the numbers are. And so I promise you that if there's a whatever stitch you end up with, if you're uncomfortable with deciding on the stitch order, I will give you what I would do. But that's the beauty of this book is they're saying everyone's brains work differently and there's no really right or wrong. It's whatever works best for you.
It's totally true. I'll just share a very, very quick story. This morning, I was again stitching with my neighbor and we were talking about a background for stitch. And I said, oh, weren't you going to do I forget what it's called. It's like 3 stitches going this way, then 3 stitches going this way, and then 3.
Well, it's called different things everywhere. Some people call that woven, but some people call
Roman or 3. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And I was like, that's the easiest stitch ever, I think. And she was like, I could not get it in my head. So she chose this, was it rice? Where it's like tacked down and all this wild. And I was like, you're out of your mind. Like, that's way harder. And she was like, oh, it was so easy. It's just, illustrates the point that everybody's brain works differently, right? So, yeah, back to my scary we're choosing. So, and Melissa said when we were talking about this, that she has not done enough perusing of Mary's second book. So this is volume 2. And so we're going to stitch roulette for each other.
Fine. Mary's a wizard, so whatever you find.
He is a wizard. I would be terrified to have you be choosing out of this book.
If you haven't had a chance, I did have an interview with her very early on in the podcast. And
Yes.
it's quite amusing because it does involve some cat fights and some of me left on screen by myself before I figured out that there was a pause button, or I think we were filming in a different format.
Might have even been filming on Instagram at that point. I don't know.
Yeah, there wasn't a pause button. So yeah, it's
Hilarious.
pretty amusing, but she is a wizard and she's super gracious. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna just scroll. I'll do it right here. I'm just gonna scroll through, and I stopped at the page. I guess. What do you want? Do you want me to pick which one?
Well, I don't know. I was just thinking that too, because if I pick a page for you, there'll be 6.
So I guess we have to just, okay. These are both really cool. So I'm just going to show them both to you and tell you what pages. 104 and 105.
Uh-oh. Let's see. I got
These look like they could be cool.
That's going to be a great sky.
Or, I did something very similar to this. So this she's calling mini marlin, and this she's calling mini triple diagonal.
I'm on my page.
It reminds me what I did on the ground. I'm just gonna bring this guy back up.
On the tiger, yeah.
That kind of ground stitch that I did. It kind of gave it movement, going.
Sure. That's why I was thinking sky, because sometimes you want that.
Yeah, sky or grass. So you're gonna have to, I guess. So I think what you could do is you could use it on a piece that you're already working on, or you could find a new piece. I don't think it really matters. The point is you need to find.
I don't have any new pieces.
You are terrible. Anyway, so yeah. So where are you going to use these guys? I don't know. Okay.
Stay tuned. We'll be back next week.
I'm going to take screenshots.
Yeah. I wrote down my page numbers.
Okay.
Now there's going to be 6. There's actually going to be 6 on one page and 6 on another page. So I think we should decide kind of which one you're going to do.
Page.
Left-hand page.
Let's do left page. Yes.
Okay. And then there's still 6. So then what?
So then do I pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So left page number 3.
So middle row.
First middle row.
Okay.
There's an emoji that does like they're scared.
So this is what you've got.
Well, that looks cool. Does that need a bead, or is that what that is?
Well, so what the beauty of this is, I think anytime you have a stitch book that has an over one like that over one could be a bead
or a 10.
Leave it open. It could be a cross stitch. Because these are over 2, sorry, this is hard to see in here. Those are over 2 cross stitches. So you can make that an over 1 cross stitch. So it could be a bead, it could be an over 1 cross stitch, it could be a 10th stitch, or you could leave it open. I think you could do any of that.
I like it. Okay, so I need to write down mine. What's my page?
So you're on page 33, position 3.
Number 3, my stitch. Got it.
And it's what I like about this. I've used, I think, this exact stitch. I'm filming a podcast. You can walk behind me, but I just didn't want you to be surprised.
My husband was in mine twice.
Yeah, my finishing guy just walked in. I think she was going to be like, hi. Anyways, I've used this for clothing. It's balanced. Some stitches like the ones that you pulled for me have a directionality to it. And this is a balanced stitch. So I always love a balanced stitch because I think there's a lot of places to put a balanced stitch. So wait,
so you get to pick these 2. I don't, whichever. But I know which one.
Okay. Sounds good. I wrote it down.
I actually think this is pretty nice. It's very.
That's the one I'm more drawn to for whatever reason. So yeah. And I might use 2 different kinds of threads. I might use
that'd be cool. I think this would be a way cool background. Really cool background.
I think I will use like a silk for the longer stitches and something sparkly for the little
dots. Yeah, I like that too.
Some open canvas, and I am all about open canvas. So I think it's great. So I'm excited.
So DM us if you want us to flip through a book and make a stitch for you, because that was kind of fun. I'd be terrified though.
Or make your bestie do it when you're Zoom stitching with them on a Saturday night.
There you go. Knock two things out at once, right? I love that.
Yeah, you can't use the same canvas, but I think you could do those two things at the same time.
I think
And just as a reminder to people, this has been super fun, and Megan and I have really enjoyed it, but there's also some prizes out there for
incentive.
all of you people to win. So if when you need picture evidence of these things, so post them on Instagram or Facebook or whatever with a hashtag
PIO 21 and 21.
Yes, PIO for pointing it out, 21 in 21. And then when you've done all of them, all 21, just send us a DM, and you have to have also followed both of our shops and our podcast on Instagram, and subscribe to YouTube, and all of those things, plus saying that you did all 21 and you've hashtagged them. And if you get kind of bogged down in that, like, honestly, you could probably just
send us
pictures and, whatever. We're all good. But we've got some really good prizes. We've got some like kind of consolation prizes, which I don't even want to call them that because they're going to be really great. But the big kahuna, this is our shop sample, is a Stella light. So this Telus Stella tabletop light. This is not the one that charges. I know they came out with one that now is wireless and holds a charge for 11 hours. This actually has a plug. I just don't have the plug plugged in because I didn't want to trip over something, because we know how klutzy I am. But this is a very nice gift, generously distributed or donated. That's the word, by Stella Lighting. So yeah, so get yourself a light. It's a
I could try to win, but I think it would be unfair. So I'm trying to help my neighbor get into the raffle.
Oh, good.
By helping her accomplish all of the goals. And I know there's at least 2 women in my shop working down on it, down their list. And yeah, so I hope this has been fun for people. Like I said, I was afraid that it was going to bog me down, but I think it made me feel like, whoa, I've really accomplished more than I thought I had this year. So it's good.
I know. And the ones that are left, I'm really excited because I'm kind of like the landscaper without trees. Don't have any place that is a dedicated stitch space or an office in my home, even though I've got space for it. I just have never carved it out because it was always about the kids, but they're kind of gone now. And so there's a spot for me. So that's on my agenda. So I'm excited.
Yay, so fun. Well, this has been super fun. I think we've gotten right up to school bus time. So
better wrap it up.
We better wrap it up. But thanks for joining us. And if you found yourself here and you have been watching us for the first time and you haven't hit subscribe, there's a little button right there at the top. Just hit subscribe and
you'll have one of your things, because that's a thing to watch.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. And so you will already, if this is your first time watching us, you will have already knocked out one item on the list. So look at that. Well, thanks for joining us, and we will continue to bring you fun and exciting things every week. Yay. At least we think it's exciting, right? Thank you.
Good to see you. Talk to you soon.
Bye. Okay.
Bye.